My name is Audrey Martin McCoy, and I'm doing some diversity work through UNC Greensboro. And I signed up tonight to hear the speaker because not only is he my husband, but I like to think of him as a mentor in a lot of this work that we're doing. And oftentimes we've had conversations about how some of my white colleagues have said that they just don't know what to say when they're confronted with things that are said that are very biased or stereotypical or just very hard things for them to hear. So Jonathan, what would you say to those individuals who say they just don't know what to say, that they feel like they just don't have they just don't have all the skills to be able to address something like this?
I think one thing, first of all, is if something is going on, you might not know what to say, but I like to hear what you say or saying the issue is. I like to hear your voice. If you're concerned about this, so first of all, I want to hear this. But then also the challenge is, like I say up here, why don't you know what to say? In our neurodiversity world, we know we're going to interact with people who aren't like us. So is it only important when it becomes big in the news? Again, especially for DEI, if we're saying this is important, then I need to start if again, what we're seeing down in Texas and Florida, the no gay, don't say gay bill, and Texas, if parents of trans children, if they take them to the doctor, they could be put up for doing child abuse. Well, then if you're seeing that, you need to become aware of those issues. So then you can actually have something to say. If it's going on and then you see it's going on, but it hasn't even piqued your curiosity to say, well, I need to know what's going on, then DEI isn't that important to you until somebody else confronts you. Well, I don't know what to say. As I said with my colleagues here, I said, most of the people, especially in higher ed, well, even in high school, you've been teaching for years. Race has been a problem of our nation for all of our lives. So if you're a teacher, you've had, at some point, I would think, students of color. Even if you haven't had students of color, you know that's been an issue in our society. So it hasn't been important enough for you to even examine it so that you can even have a working dialogue. Then that you have to examine why not. Why hasn't been that important? Like I tell students, I have students that can't tell time off a clock. The one with the hands, they can tell the digital time. I see it on my cell phone, but the time on the clock, they will say, I've never learned how to read it. And I say, listen, from K-12, from kindergarten to 12th grade, every room you went into in your school had that thing in the room. So for 13 years, 9 months out of the year, 5 days a week, you were going into a room and you would see that thing, and at no point you were piqued by curiosity to say, hey, I've been seeing this thing for 12, 13 years. I wonder what that does. Let me ask somebody to get some kind of working knowledge. It hasn't been that important to you. Now the question is, why? And so then that's that hard conversation that they have to be, why don't you know? Well, it hasn't been that, because most of us don't want to say, well, it hasn't been that important to you. Well, why hasn't it been that important? Well, because I don't think it pertains to me, but it pertains to us as a humanity, as a society. So it does pertain to us. So, I would say that, first of all, if they're hearing something from somebody and say, well, I don't know what to say, but let me hear what you're talking about so I can get a starting point. But now also let me engage that curiosity and look. And meet that challenge. So challenge, and so that's the hard conversation though. Why hasn't it been that important? If my wife, if she is telling me this is an issue that is really important to women, and we've been together for married for over 20 years. And I'm like, oh, okay. I don't know nothing about it. This person that I've been married to for 20 years is telling me this is an issue, and I haven't had any curiosity to say, well, hey, I might need to look into this so I can know why this is important to them. Then how important is that person or that issue? And that's that hard reality. I have to look at myself. Why?